good morning, and welcome back to the channel Insights Podcast, where we translate interesting conversations into great insights. And today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by my new friend, Blake Williams from Chicago. Welcome to the show, Blake. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
So we are very keen to understand your journey.
Yeah. So Blake Williams, I founded a few companies. One was an agency, well, multiple companies, but the two successes I had was one was an agency called Amp Factor, and then another was a B2B SaaS platform called Demandy. And I've had a very, very bad habit for at least the past 9 years of constantly trying to build something for this ecosystem-led growth strategy that we see Crossbeam and previously Reveal and a bunch of other folks going after, trying to kind of revolutionize what old partnerships and old channel used to perform like, so it can kind of modernize.
So you also a fan of channel, yeah, and you understand the value of partnerships. We talk a lot here about partnerships and AI. Help me understand a little bit more on why partnerships are important, how they helped you grow your business.
Yeah, I mean, well, partnerships are important for a few key reasons. One, you can borrow brand credibility, right? You can borrow credibility, you can borrow trust, but more importantly, they help you subsidize your go to market. So when you think about what it looks like it's the cold start problem that Crossbeam has articulated very, very well. And we think about it very simply. If you have a list of 1,000 people that you want to sell to, there's already somebody doing business with them who's already been out to a barbecue, been on a boat, played golf, gone to a conference, had multiple rounds with them, and they're known and trusted to advise on solutions. Whether you're a brand new business or not, everybody you want to sell to is already being sold to and has trust. The only difference is that you're not in the rooms with them, right? And so partnerships is the single pathway that you can take that is almost costless to access that room. And if you're bringing value and you're able to articulate that value in a way that makes them sit up and say, you know what, my customer needs that. My customer needs that, and I can probably help them solve a problem, and we can get further integrated, and we'll be more sticky, and we'll probably drive our LTV way up if I bring you in. And if you can accomplish that, the world's your oyster. That's all you have to do. And that's why partnerships are important, and channel together, they complement. It's the same thing, different stroke, different motion, but same thing.
Exactly, and they can expand your business internationally as well. Have you got any experience going outside of the US
Of
with
course.
your solutions? Yeah.
Of course.
Tell me a bit
Absolutely.
more about this. Yeah.
Yes. So, and it goes bi-directionally, right? So if you're trying to go from the UK to the US, or you're trying to go from the US out to other areas, you got to go where the trust is. And especially in Europe, because it's a localized experience. And what works in Ireland may not work in Czechoslovakia or wherever you're trying to go to, right? Your marketing
There is no
campaigns.
Czechoslovakia anymore, Blake. Do you
Okay,
know
well,
this? It's two countries, different countries.
that tells you how out of date I am on on geography. But yeah, okay. So let's substitute Spain for that. Uh, it's a very different stroke, and you're going to need partners locally in each of those regions, or one big partner who's got teams in those regions who are very good at taking what you bring to the table and dialing it in for how that country operates, right? How the teams in that country operates. So you can get an integration that doesn't equal a partnership, right? That's the start. That's the foundation. You create it. It's like a membership to a gym. It doesn't mean you're going to go in there and get jacked, step on stage, right? It just means you now have a ticket,
Exactly.
to get in.
And I'm glad you mentioned this because, as you say, the dynamic is very different in different regions. You had guests on the show, founders who build their new business. Their go-to-market strategy was 100% channel, which was great. Do you have any advice for founders who are still early on this journey? I mean, it's obvious that partnerships will take you places, but how do you actually start in a practical terms?
In a practical sense, I love this. And I'm working with a $6 million startup who started direct. I can go even smaller than that if we want to talk baby steps. But it really comes down to, have you experienced ICP and product market fit yet? Right? If you have to know your ICP, your persona, and your use case specifically. And what I mean, if you don't have proof, Partners is not the place to test that with, because you're going to be testing their trust with their customer loyalty, and that's not going to bode well from a reputation standpoint. There's a way to balance that, but I would say the very first step is making sure that you have the list correct, right? What I mean by list is the population of the people that you serve with a single individual use case that you do better than anybody else, right? And when you're going to think about the partners or the types of partners or channel that you're going to take that to, the next best thing you can do is establish a revenue motion. There's two different things in partnerships. There's the artifacts that say, here's how our partner program's managed. Here's a bunch of tiers and medals and all these other things, and a portal, which is, it's all great, but it's really a bunch of strategy that's missing one thing: the fuel, right? The activation, the revenue motion. And in reality, a lot of teams end up with these partner programs, but they're not fit for the partners. And they're going through this struggle right now, is that you see this modernization of partner programs because everyone basically control C, control V what they saw in the market. Instead of starting where the revenue is, starting with that motion, getting to outcomes, making sure that it's repeatable, then build the structure to support. Ask the partner, ask the channel, what do you need to do better? What do you need so that you're running at me with deals instead of me trying to pull on your jacket to say, hey, can you remember me? Right. And if you start with that experience, then you build your structure around that. What you find is that you can start layering on different partner types. You can start layering on different use cases, different motions, different personas.
Love it.
And you build your way out of it, but it starts with the revenue motion first. And then you don't have to think about, well, is this a good partner program or a bad partner program? Truth is, no one cares what you think. Does a partner love it? And are they running deals toward you? Yeah.
I absolutely love it, Blake. And I used to work as a partner experience lead at a cybersecurity company. What is partner experience to you? You kind of touched
Yeah.
upon this, and it seems so evident. Just ask partners; they're going to tell you a story, but no one is even running any surveys.
I think it happens because they start with the structure first, and then the job is to manage the structure, right? Starting with the revenue and then building a structure to manage the revenue. And if they started with that first, then they would constantly care. And they wonder why you have 90% or 80% of partners who are just completely inactive. The truth is that you're actually competing for their attention. You're competing still. Just because they're a partner, that doesn't matter. You're competing for their attention in their day-to-day business, for them to mention your name and dial in their use case, find out if there's intent, discover this kind of thing. And you're over here worried about training and enablement and all that, and they could really care less, right? And so if you're not good at articulating exactly what they want, and sometimes you're going to find out, right? What do they say? FAFO. Sometimes you're going to find out that you don't matter. But that's a good thing, because you can cross that partnership off the list for the time being or set it on the back burner. But I think most people are afraid to go figure out what's real inside their partnerships and the real work they would have to do to actually start to matter.
Yeah. And you're spot on about this, about the attention. The attention span is so small. They have so many choices of vendors. If you need to reactivate your partners, it means they are partnering with someone else. So
For sure.
what is it that you are not doing that they're doing, and vice versa? Blake, tell me about it. Like, my audience, obviously, it's a different channel professionals listening to the show. How could you help them as well? I would like to understand your proposition here.
Yeah. So I'm building a platform called Euphoria right now, and it's an agent. I think part of my experience is that, we already covered the fact that 1,000 people are already doing business with your next 1,000 customers, and they already have trust. And you just mentioned a very good thing. Just because they're not giving you partner attention doesn't mean they're not just kicking love over to the other partner and they're getting 100% of the deal flow. So one of the things I realized in activating brands, because that's the only thing I've ever done, right, is just the activation component. How do we take what you built, get a list to money, right? And what's that look like? So what I noticed is that brand to brand partnerships are fantastic. They're great for hype. They're great for credibility. You do need them. But the real money comes when you start activating the people, right? It's Sarah, it's Chelsea, it's John in the other company that matter. They're the only ones, no matter what's decided at the top or what the contract says, they're the only ones that are going to ever put you actually in the deal. That's where the referral comes from. That's where the data that you can't go get from Clay or Claude to know that, you know, their customer leader just got fired and there's going to be a transition. They're about to move off this platform and here's what their budget looks like. Now's not the right time, but when it is time to go, here's the person that you need to meet with. I'm going to introduce you, right? So what I'm building today is a platform because we're effectively bidding zero. It takes a long time to get Sarah, Chelsea, and John to trust you enough to organically bring you in. Be educated enough on your ICP, understand what that pain point looks like and sounds like in a meeting to know enough to bring you in, right? The agent that I've built integrates with all your connection surfaces. There's no portal or anything like that, but you, as a company, you upload your workspace with your ICPs, with all of your use cases, with all the detection phrases, with all of these things. And when you start adding the channel to it, you can invite people. They set up a platform. All they have to do is OAuth, and it automatically goes in and looks at what relationships you already have, but it bids CAC. So CAC is cost of customer acquisition.
Cost to customer acquisition, okay.
Right. And so from a go-to-market perspective, this is how much we are willing and able to spend. And we're already spending it to acquire it direct through ads, through paid sources, through whatever it is. So that number might be $3,000. And so what my agent does is it looks across the milestones of identifying the opportunity. You get $150 for that because it's an incentive. Right now, every other partner is bidding zero for that customer success manager to do this legwork. Right? Look across their customer base. You get $150 for identifying an account that actually matches. If you send an email, which it drafts for you, you get $450 to surface whether or not they have a pain point around this use case, right? And if that happens, they've earned $600 so far, right? Then the next one is finding out the readiness, and you can customize these with the agent, whatever you want the milestones to be. We lay them all out for you, and we let you select. But the AI does the bidding, and it does it based on the full enriched account, the persona, the likelihood of the event that it will close. And then you get another $750 after there's intent, after there's a use case match to find out if they're ready and if they opt in for an intent. So you haven't even done an intro yet. Every other partnership team is out there bidding zero. And this single customer success person has already made, I don't know, $1,350, right? So you've got a fully vetted opportunity. So Crossbeam finds the overlaps. If you use Crossbeam in any way, shape, or form, that's directional. What Euphoria does is the activation layer. It deploys incentives across the milestones in the funnel that actually work towards a referral that can close, right?
Okay.
They conduct the intro and they get a $1,200 because we're willing to pay $3,300 to get a deal, right? The customer success manager just went and validated every little step along the way to make sure that this intro will close, right?
Are there like AI workflows embedded into this solution?
Oh yeah, but as a participant, you would just OAuth and you'd get a Slack to say, "Hey, Blake's a perfect ICP fit for this partner," right?
Okay.
If you've been invited to that workspace, if you validate the intent, send this email. Click here to send this email. The AI will send the email for you. You can edit it. You'll get $450 and it's instantly paid out. So the difference is everybody always pays out after deal registration, after the deal close, right? That's way at the bottom of the funnel. Or they'll pay for ads. But what we're talking about is middle funnel infrastructure to get you paid and incentivized along the way to do the work to make sure you actually have a very thick bottom of the funnel outcome, right?
Okay,
so
interesting.
You're willing to pay for all of these activities and times 1,000. So you can invite all of the people in your partner businesses, everybody in the channel who's already interested in making money. And I don't know anybody out there who's saying like, that was just one opportunity to earn $3,300 if it closes, but you earned that $3,300 for doing the legwork along the way. If you have 7 opportunities, you earn $21,000 in that month, instantly cashed out, not wait another month, not any of those things. When the customer responds back with the intent, the payout becomes available. You just transfer it into your account, right? Where are we? Yeah, I'm 5 months into it and we have about 2 weeks left before we're ready to welcome our first beta customers. And I'm going to fund it myself. And I'll be my first customer. So I'll be inviting people that I know, who I already know have ICP rich emails and relationships and Slack messages, right? And I'll be inviting them and funding my own funnel to grow. And I'll just eat my own or drink my own champagne or dog food, whatever you want to say. But yeah, that's the way I'm starting. I have around 7 partnership teams that are willing to test this. They're already spending money on ads. This is just a way to shift it towards something that's way more valuable. Instead of impressions and click throughs and stuff like that, you can get validated partner intent, validated use cases in the account. You can get all this signal along the way, right? For the same exact price that you're paying for this very top of funnel, which you still need, but you don't only need that.
This is fantastic. Of like, where did this idea come from? Again, you kind of alluded to this, but why? What is your why in the product? How did it all come about?
Yeah, my why in the product is that I've spent 9 years playing the old model of spend MDF and go to market funds on the very traditional incentives. I built an ABM company around it, and it was like 70% of the revenue was all MDF. And what I noticed is that nobody's incentivizing the behavior that they actually want to occur. They're just hoping it does. So they're bidding zero for it and counting on partnerships to in time. Here's the thing. In time, you can absolutely get these things to occur in 2 to 3 years, right? In 2 to 3 years, if you're focused on it. But if anything changes, if the partnership leader moves, if the funding changes, if the partner's attention goes somewhere else, you lose the attention of the people. And the people are where the action occurs. So basically, we're creating this surface layer that allows you to deploy funds into these companies. And whether they belong to a company or not, right? If they have an ICP rich relationship graph, then they have an opportunity to make 21, 15, 20, 67. It doesn't matter. It's just how deep is your relationship graph? How many people do you know, right, that we want to sell to? And then we fund that.
This may revolutionize the whole channel go-to-market strategy for so many companies. Do you know anyone else doing this in the market? Like your maybe competitors or someone you looked up to?
Well, you see master agent groups like Intelisys, not necessarily deploying incentives this way, but it's the closest thing to getting a massive population of people who are in the rooms with people that you want to be in and sell to bringing you information about a deal. Because I've been in those deals, right? And I've seen exactly how they unfold. You sell into American Airlines, and Caleb has a friend at American Airlines who knows the deal's going down. They do the intro, and next thing you know, they're getting $7,500 MRR for 36 months on a CCAS deal, right? That is completely out there, but they would move a hell of a lot faster if they made money for all of their relationships, surface that intent signal, because they're already paying for it. People are going to Common Room and buying signals like job changes and things like that. What does the seller do with that? I mean, maybe they can. They just say, instead of shooting your rock or shooting a target that's this wide, you can shoot it at a target this wide, and it's 50% accurate. Why don't we just take that money and deploy it into the people and the relationships that we actually want to nurture anyway, and invest in those people, right?
Absolutely. Like, as you said, activate those Chelsea and Andrew in the market.
Yes.
No, really love it. Love it. And if I can be of any help for testing any of your deployments, let me know. I'd be great to be
I would love
connected
to invite you.
and support you from the UK side, because we need to bring your product to the UK market at some point. Definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
So as we're wrapping up our discussion, is there anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, well, I've got 4 daughters, and I think about incentives a lot with those 4 as we raise them. So that overlays a lot on why now for me. They're at an age where incentivizing different behavior, not just money and stuff like that, but just incentives in general. How do we get the behavior that we want to see? And we're starting with money as our first use case, but there's also connection, there's relationships, there's trips and local experiences, there's all kinds of things that people want to be a part of that they're not really invited to today unless they're inside those rooms. And so I think there's a massive opportunity here to, if you have Crossbeam and you have PartnerStack, or you have any other PRM, this is an activation layer for the revenue motion around referrals and incentives deployment. So
it's your doors to revenue streams. Exactly. Yeah.
That's it. Yes.
And I understand that Crossbeam and your solution will go hand in hand together, right?
100%.
It
So
will amplify the offering, yeah?
yeah, if you have Crossbeam, that's fantastic. You could do a one-click integration with Crossbeam, and we would automatically get your whole partner data pool, and then we would go enrich that, find every single person that we feel like is already having customers or customer conversations, because we use AI to make assumptions about the roles in the company. After we pull the data from Clay, we build a population for that.
I can't.
So the best way is that it's a one-click integration with Crossbeam. We'll pull all your partner accounts in, and then we'll go enrich all the people that we think are having customer conversations, that are likely to have customer conversations, and then pull in their partner leader. You can invite the partner leader. The AI tells them all about what the incentives program is. If they opt into it, then they'll invite the people from inside their organization, and then the bidding starts to occur. And so you can take that MDF, swipe your credit card, we use Stripe to process everything. It loads the budget, and then it starts bidding on all the ICP fit opportunities. So it's not like we need to wait to the end of the month. We would automatically get it if 50 people accept on that day, which I would recommend have a meeting. Get 50 people to accept, automatically does the analysis, the bidding starts to occur, we wait for the action, and you can see all this. It's 100% attributed into HubSpot or Salesforce. And if you're using PartnerStack for payouts, the shitty thing is that most PRMs don't have a externally exposed API, so we can't just go build that. But we do our own payment processing and tracking, and we attribute it inside of your CRM. We also handle all the W-9 and tax compliance issues. So every company that comes to us doesn't need to worry about that issue of providing those incentives and paying individuals out. We do all of that. The agent, the platform does 100% of that.
That is fantastic. And I mean, you can leverage all the existing customer base of Crossbeam here. So it's already halfway job done for you. No, I'm looking forward to your product and how it can improve the overall partner experience, as you mentioned. It's been fantastic talking to you and learning about your journey and your product. Thank you so much for coming to the show. And I can't wait to see the end result.
Yes, thanks for having me. And we'll make sure that we invite you as an early tester. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.